girl. I would have been fuming and seething. You would have seen the steam coming out of my ears. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. Thank you so much for tuning in. The theme of today's episode is Am I Overreacting subreddit. Let's get into it. The title of the first story is Am I Overreacting? My stepdad was caring for my dog while I was on vacation and he stole my underwear. So I, 25 female, was on vacation for a little over a week, and I had asked my stepdad to go over to our house every other day to play frisbee/run with my dog. My significant other's parents were going 2 times daily as they lived next door. I was checking the cameras on day 4 to see what time my stepdad came, and I saw him digging in my laundry basket. Lo and behold, he was stealing my dirty underwear from my clothes hamper. I immediately called my mom and said, Stepdad stole my underwear from my hamper and I have it on video. She immediately said she did not want to see it and went to confront him, to which he lied, and she then asked to send the video footage. I did, and all that she could say was, he said he didn't steal them, but I don't believe him and I'm disgusted. She apologized and said she hoped it didn't ruin my vacation, and if we're being real, the only time I didn't think about it was when I was at least 2 vodka Red Bulls deep. She told me not to tell anyone, but I had already showed my significant other, and he was obviously effing disgusted. Now here's the thing. We have not talked about it since, and it's eating me up. I obviously don't want to cut ties with my mother because 1, I love her, and she's my best friend, and 2, it's not her fault that her husband is a pervert. He has been in my life since 2006, like living with me until I moved into my dad's in 2016. We've always had a great relationship, and this is hurting me mentally and physically. I literally have the nervous, agonizing shits all day, all the time. If I stop showing up to family events that he's at, my family will be so effing pissed and think that I'm the worst, but if I tell them, my mom will be absolutely heartbroken. I cannot just seal this up and move on. I pretty much know I'm not overreacting in any scenario of this, and honestly, I just need advice and don't know what other thread to post on. I don't want him to go to jail or any of that. I just want to beat him up or pop his tires or, I don't know, something that would make him as upset as he's made me. F all of this. You're definitely not overreacting, that's for damn sure. That's creepy and disgusting and a violation, obviously, of your privacy. And not only that, but he's basically a father figure to you because you've known him and he's been like in the stepdad role since 2006, which is, I'm not good at math. 9 years? Oh my God, stop. 19 years. Oh my God, am I okay? Shut the hell up. Shut the front door. Okay, that was so embarrassing. Anyways, let's read some comments. Someone said, Jesus Christ, girl, I'm so sorry. This sucks horrifically. To have a father figure violate your trust so profoundly is earth-shattering. I've had a close experience, but not quite this bad. Shit. Therapy, this is above Reddit's abilities. We can give advice, some good, but you're going to see some unnecessary bullshit from incel trolls too. And to be honest, a therapist can help you navigate how to deal with this with your mother. In my opinion, I'm not a professional by any means, but again, just unfortunately similar life experiences. Unless your mother cuts ties soon, your relationship will never be the same. Maybe your mom is getting her shit together to leave, please God, but I think a therapist, again, guiding you would be best. For a while, document everything. That sucks to say about your mom, but denial can do crazy shit to people's brains, even disgustingly when it's regarding their own child's health and safety. Do not talk to your mother alone. You need your significant other, dad, older, same age sibling, if any, or significant other's parents with you. Not too many people to make your mom feel ganged up on and immediately defensive, but to make sure you don't get gaslit. And there's someone of sound mind to advocate for you in case your mom says something off the rails, like backtracking, and it sends you reeling. I'm so sorry. This effing sucks. Edited to add regarding not telling anyone. F that. Go scorched earth on his ass. Burn him. Anyone who says to keep quiet does not have your or any other woman's best interest at heart. And then someone responded, the fact that mom immediately says, hey, don't tell anyone, says that she wants to smooth it over. Bro has been fantasizing about this girl for how long? 20 years? OP needs to move house and cut ties with everyone supporting that freaking predator and press charges because it needs to be on record what he did. Can you press charges for that? I actually have no clue. I don't know. I've just never had to deal with anything like that, thank God. But there is an update, so let's read it. Update on my stepdad stealing my underwear while I was on vacation. I was reading responses to the post and went kind of radio silent as I did text my mom, and this is how it went. I was gaslit and it just effing sucked. Believe me, I know what the right choice is. Bash him to the rest of the family and cut them off. I got engaged on the trip we went on, and before we left, my mom and I looked at a wedding venue, and when I told her my fiance popped the question, she put a non-refundable $2,000 deposit down on the wedding venue. So either she is just effed on that, or she still has my wedding, which I can't see her doing if I never talk to her again. I did tell my dad, and he's furious. He can't do much as he's almost 70 years old and he's suffered several strokes over the last few years. I just told him not to tell anyone and I would decide if I wanted to go that route, but he told me to go to therapy. He said if I did lash out and commit a crime by popping his tires, my mom and stepdad both wouldn't go to the police, as I have evidence of his crime as well, but to try to stay away from that. My mom and stepdad got together while my parents were still married, and my stepdad was dating my auntie at the time, and her son popped his tires, so that also wouldn't be very original of me. I'm just venting about other traumas now. Read the texts. Okay, we're going to read the texts that were sent. These are between OP and the mom. OP said, "Can you call me when you're by yourself?" The mom said, "I don't need any more bad news. I've been stressed enough the last week." OP said, "Okay, I'm sorry, but I cannot move on from stepdad doing that, and I'm not going to be the black sheep of the family because of this whole thing. I am nauseous and it's his fault. It's all I can think about. This is effed and it's not my fault. I'm seriously considering therapy, but I can never be around him again, and I know you know that. I'm just never going to see any of the family again, my family, and that's not fair. I'm trying to just forget it and I can't." And the mom said, "Don't take it personal. You're taking it personally, and I don't think it has anything to do with you. I think he was drunk. We talked and he is cutting back on his drinking. I know he feels terrible and he knows what he did was wrong and how it was perceived. Just give it some time. We have all done things we aren't proud of. We always get past them." OP said, "Time will not fix this. He never apologized to me and I don't even think I would listen. So you're saying he's done this to other women before?" He admitted that, because you knowing that and staying with him is sickening. I know I'm being harsh, but come on. Being drunk is not an excuse for anything ever, and I am one to know that. I have done bad things while intoxicated, but never been a pervert. He raised me since I was 6 years old. This is so messed up." And the mom said, "I have no idea if he's done this before. And has he ever been inappropriate with you before? No, because it has nothing to do with you personally. I understand you are upset and I know you have lost respect, but I think you are overreacting a bit. Take a break from us if you need to, but let's not make this a bigger deal than it is." OP said, "You don't remember when we were camping and Wills had to call both blank and blank out when I was wearing shorts because they were staring at my ass? Wills just made that point. That's not coming from me. You are underreacting." The mom said, "Okay, I'm underreacting." And OP said, "I'm your daughter. I am your daughter." Mom said, "What do you want from me?" Again, it's not about you. It was stupid. And then OP said, "Okay." And that's the end of their messages. So that's unfortunate, and I hope that she's going to be okay, because obviously having that invalidated by your mother, and also having your mom pick a guy over you is truly, it sucks. And I think that it's a pretty common experience to have been through, because I feel like a lot of people have felt that way. I know for me, I love my mom, okay? I'm not trying to bash my mom at all. She knows that like this was a thing growing up, and she's apologized a million times over and over again, and I actually need her to stop apologizing. But anyways, like, I've felt this way before. Now that I've gotten older, like I can recognize why it happened and why my mom was so just like always wanting and yearning for a man's attention. And I just think she got pregnant very young. She had my sister at 19, got married basically right away to my dad, and then was with my dad for another 20 years and was never really happy in that relationship. Had, 3 kids with him, one being me. I think once they got divorced, like she kind of just not went off the rails, but a little bit went off the rails, and just she wanted to have that like connection with someone, and she just wanted to find that a relationship with a man that she just had never had before, that like was actually a good relationship. So she got into a lot of relationships. Even in movies, I feel like this is depicted a lot with women. So I feel like that's why it's so common, and like single mothers and stuff. It sucks, but that's just the reality of the situation. So I can understand feeling like your mom is choosing a man over you. Obviously, the best case scenario here would be for the mom to choose her daughter over this man and not put her through any more trauma. I don't think that's what's going to happen. The top comment says, not overreacting. I'm petty. If I were you, I'd add all of your family to a group chat and then tell them everything your stepdad did and leave the chat. It doesn't matter if he was drunk. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a horny bastard, and I would never dream of doing anything sexual / stealing anyone's panties while I'm drunk, much less my stepdaughter's. Drunk actions are sober thoughts. He was wanting to do it sober, and being drunk gave him the drunken courage to do it. He's already ruined your family. Exposing him and your mother's attempt to disregard his actions is the proper thing to do. Anyone that defends him or your mother, just cut off from your life. They're disgusting people if they defend it. Edit. OP, I saw you said that you have him on camera stealing your underwear. That's undeniable proof of his sickness. If you tell your family about it, which you should, then anyone that sides with him and your mother after seeing that footage, you should cut from your life for good. Someone responded to that and said, I don't think it's a petty move. I think it's exactly the sort of thing she should do in order to maintain a healthy relationship with the rest of the family. The mother is not going to tell anyone the real reason. There is now a rift in the family. She will remain silent until someone notices and brings it up, at which point she will lie. That lie will spread because, boy, do families have to gossip about interfamily drama, and before you know it, everyone is judging OP unfairly. So yeah, OP, make it clear to the entire family exactly what happened with video proof and that you are removing them both from your life. Your stepfather for what he did and your mother for refusing to take it seriously and trying to brush it under the rug as if your feelings don't matter. What he did is disgusting. Your feelings are valid, and any family member who does not understand that is not someone you need in your life anyways. 1000%. The title of the next story is, my wife went out to lunch with a guy she met at the gym. I think this is a huge no-no. Am I overreacting? My 39 male wife, 39 female, and I have been together for 14 years, married for 11. I've been cheated on in the past several times, so I'm very sensitive to any behavior that could be construed that way. My wife goes to the same gym 5 days a week and is always there when they open at 5 a.m. It's a serious thing for her. I personally go 3 days a week, but to a different gym. Needless to say, conversations have been struck up with her by various people for the last 5 years or so. One guy in particular who is divorced and 15 years older started being friendly to her a while back. Not sure how long exactly. A conversation arose about a good lunch special at a steakhouse in town, and it became an ongoing thing. You gotta try this pork chop, etc. Well, on Friday afternoon, she went to lunch with this gentleman, and then when she came home, she mentioned that her leftovers were from this place and that she went with a friend. Never said anything about a work friend, so I pressed a bit more for curiosity's sake. She told me what happened and swore up and down nothing happened, and she's not interested in that way. I will say our marriage has had its ups and downs, but the ups were way higher than the downs. My wife has given me zero reason in 14 years not to trust her. However, the circumstances are quite suspect. What does everyone think? I think that if she knows that you like it's something you would be uncomfortable with, then that's just like another thing, because also the fact that she had to be a little secretive about it and not tell you, and like she was just saying, oh, I just went with a friend, clearly to try to hide like who she went with. That's obviously her knowing that you would react a certain way. And I feel like if you know that you're going to hurt your partner's feelings in some way or another, then you should probably refrain from doing something that's going to hurt your partner's feelings in some way or the other. Like, it's really not that hard to just respect your partner and not do things that you know is going to upset them. It's just human decency or just like respect for your partner, and it's actually not that hard to have. So there is an edit, so many comments. I'm trying to catch up, but I have very little time. Edit 2, we have had a lengthy discussion about all of this. She didn't necessarily hide it from me, and I didn't have to prod her much at all for her to tell me it was a man from the gym. She's known him for 2 years in passing, and they talk occasionally. Has never given me a reason to think she's cheated. This time just seemed very sus, and she apologized a lot for forgetting to tell me she was going to do this. She's very scatterbrained and forgetful, so it's not out of the ordinary. Anyways, thank you everyone for the rational, sane, helpful advice. Luckily, I did most of that before I saw all of your replies, so I think we're okay now. I mean, I think it's fine to have male friends and female friends in a relationship, honestly. Like, I think it just depends the vibes that are in your relationship, and is it like a relationship that you have to worry about that stuff with. I don't really have a problem with my boyfriend like I don't know. It sounds weird when you're saying like, oh, my wife went to lunch with a guy she met at the gym. That sounds weird. I don't know. Maybe if it was a coworker, I would feel a little differently, but like having it be at the gym, I do find it a little weird. But that's because I feel like if you're like working with someone, you kind of want to make friends with people that you're working with. It's people that you spend every day with for 8 hours. And that's like a long time to be spending with them. So I don't know. I do feel a little weird about that. It's like I don't know. When I'm working out, like I'm not striking up any conversation with a man, and if a man's striking up a conversation with me, I'm probably gonna be like, okay, well, anyways, have a good workout. Like I'm just trying to get my workout done and like go away, please. The top comment says, my wife, 39 female, sent me 40 male this thread because pretty much this exact scenario happened with us, but much earlier in our marriage, maybe 2 years in. She went to a gym 4 to 5 days per week around 5 a.m. The guy was also about 15-ish years older, and they went to lunch after meeting in the gym and apparently regularly striking up brief casual conversations. She came home with leftovers, which I ate. After she told me about the whole thing, I asked her why she went on a date with someone, despite, being married to me. We mostly laughed about the whole thing, first by ourselves and then with our friends who we saw later that night, and agreed this was a ridiculous thing to do and obviously a date. As if to illustrate the point for us in real time, the guy starts flirt texting her while we were with our friends that night, and we all start laughing further as we read the evidence that I was right and my wife maybe shouldn't innocently go to lunch with random dudes. I was mostly happy about how right I was being proven, and I jokingly bring this up a decade later if the situation ever calls for a playful jab. Needless to say, that was the only time they hung out, and I believe conversation generally went way down. I definitely didn't ask her to switch gyms or even stop talking to him, but it was understood that she should keep the appropriate context going forward, that she's being hit on, and any friendship or whatever with him wouldn't work. It just all went away quickly after we all had a laugh about it, though I was annoyed that some loser was trying to hit on a woman over a decade, his junior, who was clearly married. Some people just suck. Your conversation with your wife should go something like that. If it doesn't, something might be wrong. OP said, your ending is how we ultimately ended up. In 14 years, she has never given me one single iota of reason to think she's cheated. I didn't ask her to switch gyms, and she apologized for not telling me beforehand because she simply forgot. She can be quite forgetful sometimes, so it's definitely a well-backed-up excuse. She's been on a hunt for friends in the last 5 years or so because she has so little. She's in the gym 12 hours a week and has at least made 1 to 2 girlfriends from there. This is the first dude that she has contacted outside of the gym that I'm aware of. She told me at lunch 2.5 hours that all they even talked about was the gym, this dude's kids and grandkids, etc. She said it never felt romantic, and if it did, she would shut it down. And someone said back to that, 2.5 hours for lunch. Sorry, but that's a date. Also, he's letting her into his life by talking about his kids and grandkids. Did she talk about you at all? Does he even know she's married? Don't downplay this. Just because they didn't go to a hotel doesn't mean it wasn't inappropriate. I really hope she realizes that. I don't know. That's so hard. That's so hard. Like, it's a hard situation. Obviously, everyone has their different boundaries. And I feel like as you're in a relationship also for a certain amount of time, things change and you become more comfortable with certain things that you typically wouldn't be in the beginning of a relationship. But I think that just comes with like comfortability and trusting of your partner. I'm trying to think about if like how I would feel if this were the case. But I think that for me, it's like if you have time to go to a 2.5 hour lunch, like why isn't that 2.5 hour lunch with me? That's how I would feel with my boyfriend if he was like, oh yeah, me and this girl went to lunch that I met at the gym for 2.5 hours and we just like talked. Then I'd be like, wait, where's my lunch, girl? Where's my 2.5 hour lunch? And we're just talking. I would love to know. And I think that if my boyfriend were meeting a girl at the gym and then going to lunch with her, I would not approve. That's my consensus. I would feel some type of way about that. It just depends, on the scenario. But anyways, the title of the next story: am I overreacting for walking out of my boyfriend's proposal because he did it with a ring his ex picked out for herself? So this might sound insane, but buckle up. My 25 female boyfriend, 29 male of 3 years, finally popped the question last weekend. Super cute setup, low key, just fam and close friends, fairy lights, the whole vibe. I was hyped until I clocked the ring. Instant ick. Like, I knew that ring. I'd seen it somewhere before. Fast forward to me pulling him aside like, hey, quick question, where's this ring from? And this man has the audacity to tell me it's the one he was going to use to propose to his ex. And not just any ring. She picked it out back when they were playing house. I was like, excuse me? He says it's just a ring and that I'm overthinking it, that it doesn't mean anything anymore. And he didn't want to drop more money when he had already had a nice one just sitting there. No, I couldn't even process it. I left. I didn't cause a scene, just told him I needed air and bounced. He's been blowing up my phone ever since, calling me dramatic and saying I embarrassed him in front of everyone. Some of our friends are siding with him, saying, girl, it's just a rock. He still chooses you. But others are like, no, that's a recycled proposal and you're not crazy for walking out. So yeah, am I overreacting for walking out because my man tried to propose with his ex's dream ring? I mean, yeah. What? Don't propose with your ex's dream ring. That's weird. Take it somewhere, pawn it off, and buy a new ring. It's not that hard, I feel like. Also, it sounds like she put this through ChatGPT or something, and she let it, like, rewrite, because what the hell? The way that she wrote it, girl, it's just a rock. He still chose you. Nah, that's a recycled proposal, and you're not crazy for walking. I don't know. It sounds so cheesy to me, but to each their own. Someone said, just curious why the previous proposal didn't happen. Why is she an ex now? OP said, I don't know anything. I'm curious too. Generally, we haven't spoke about previous relationships. And then someone responded, nope. He could have taken that ring to a good jeweler and paid to have the materials reused, melt the gold, change the stone placement, the works. It wouldn't have cost nearly as much as a new ring, and it could have been made to suit your taste perfectly. But he decided it was better to cheap out and slide you with a ring with a ton of emotional baggage instead. You didn't overreact, and you are lucky to see this side of him before you agreed to marry him. I wouldn't 100% say this relationship is over, but it doesn't look good. Is he usually this cheap and socially awkward? Does he get mad at you for things he's done wrong? If he's got a bunch of other red flags, move on. That's just crazy. I don't know. Maybe that's just a man being clueless. I don't know, because sometimes that is the case in a lot of scenarios. Men can just be extremely clueless, and it's crazy when you look at it from an outside perspective, because it's like, please, how did you not know that that's actually not okay to do? But whatever. The next story is titled, Am I Overreacting? My boyfriend cheated on me at my birthday dinner. It was my birthday with me, a few friends, and my boyfriend. We were out at this cozy little restaurant I'd picked for dinner. I'd been feeling weird about my boyfriend and one of my oldest girlfriends for a while. You know when you can just feel that something is off? The way they looked at each other, inside jokes I wasn't a part of, I kept brushing it off, telling myself I was just being insecure. Halfway through the dinner, she said she was going to the bathroom. 2 minutes later, he stood up and mumbled that he needed to use the bathroom too. My stomach dropped. It felt so obvious, but I still thought, surely not. After 2 minutes, I got up, I walked down the hallway, and yeah, the bathroom door was closed and I could hear them, laughing, whispering, etc. I didn't say anything right then. I just turned around, walked back to the table, and waited. When they came back trying to act normal, I lost it. I didn't scream or throw anything, but I said exactly what I heard. The table went dead silent. Some people got up. My boyfriend tried to deny it, then stormed out. She didn't say a word. I left right after. I feel like I was overreacting by blowing up at dinner and maybe should have just handled it privately. Am I overreacting? What? No. And also, why didn't you just walk in and be like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you guys in the bathroom together, flirting and laughing together? That's the weird part to me. The top comment says, it's better your friends knew what was up before they tried to put a spin on it and turn them against you. Don't put it past people like that. OP said, exactly. Some people will twist the story so fast your friends won't know what hit them. Better to get ahead of it. And then said, this is truly a horrible thing to happen to anyone. It seems almost impossible that it hasn't been going on for a while. They may have already slept together and you should get tested just to be safe. To find this out in public during your birthday dinner is objectively one of the worst things socially that can possibly happen to anyone. So was your reaction perfect and poised? Perhaps not, but it sounds like it was pretty damn close, and under the circumstances, this was a relatively graceful way to handle it. Block, 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 and pour all of that love back into yourself. You deserve it. This is one of those moments where people show you exactly who they are, and once you see it, there's no going back. OP's composure is a quiet kind of strength, and walking away instead of creating a scene is power in its own right. Now it's about healing closure and protecting your peace. Why wouldn't you should have gone in and taken a picture and then been like, hey, look, everyone, I just found them doing something. I don't know. Because, like, what were they doing in there? They were just laughing and giggling. I'm sure they were doing something probably inappropriate And I feel like if you would have gotten proof of that, it would have just like solidified that no one would have been able to say anything to you other than, oh, that's messed up. And then you would have been fine. And I think that if anything, you underreacted, because if it were me, I would have had a freak out. I would have freaked out, but I wouldn't have been able to just like calmly walked back to my chair and sat down. I would have busted open that door and punched both of them probably in the face, and then I would have been in jail for assault. So that's just me. I don't know about you, but I would definitely not take it well, and I probably wouldn't have been so calm about it. Also, I feel like if it's a group of girlfriends, someone else, whoever is closest with that girl who is cheating with your boyfriend, probably already knows and probably wasn't shocked when you came to the table and told everyone that was what was happening. Because I'm sure, like, usually in friends, you have those certain dynamics where it's like there's a couple friends that are closer, there's two friends that hang out more, and there's another two friends that hang out more, or whatever. So I'm sure that someone already knew, whoever is closer to that girl. But that's wild and crazy. Someone said, like, what's the point of asking, am I overreacting? The dude cheated on her at her own birthday party. Of course you aren't overreacting. 100%. You're underreacting, truly, if that's the case. Because I walked down the hallway and then I didn't say anything. I just turned around and walked right back to the table and waited. Oh, I would have been fuming and seething. You would have seen the steam coming out of my ears. But anyways, that's the end of the story time. Those are all the stories that I have for you guys today. Let me know how you felt about those stories, if you have any certain specific opinions about any of those, or if any of them touched your heart a little bit more than the others. I would love to hear it. And if you have any suggestions on any videos you want me to do for any next episodes, let me know. I love you guys so much, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye. On this week's episode of the Storytime Society's Patreon, I was with my ex from the time I was 13 until I was 27. That's nearly half my life. We had 3 kids together, and now they are 18, 16, and my youngest is 6. We officially broke up in 2019, but the relationship had been falling apart long before that. So when I found out after our breakup that he was staying with her, half of me couldn't believe it, and the other half knew it. He denied everything, of course, told me I was crazy, jealous, bitter, but little by little, it became clear. She was stepping into the mom role with my kids, playing house, trying to be me. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.